During week 222 of Brada's Branded Thoughts, a discussion on the Jack McCaffery situation, have not addressed that publicly since the news became official that he was indeed involved in a fatal crash here recently. And we'll try to relate it back to basketball, but I've got some thoughts for everybody. Also, we'll talk with Iowa wide receiver Alex Mota. We sat down and discussed his decision to sign with Iowa. I think Alex is a kid who can make an impact right away for the Hawkeyes at a position, wide receiver, that has had issues of late. All that coming up during week 222 of Brada's Branded Thoughts. This is from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Straight from the man cave Kinnick under the kitchen, authentic, original player art prints are being drawn up for Hawkeye fans everywhere. From Under the Kitchen's Murray Legacy print, which features former Hawkeye Kenyon Murray, current Hawkeye Chris Murray, and current Sacramento King Keegan Murray, to football players Lucas Van Ness, Torrey Taylor, and Cooper DeJean, to wrestlers Tony Cassiope, Alex Marinelli, and Real Woods. Oh, and only one of the greatest athletes to ever compete at Iowa, Spencer Lee. There are so many options available, and they make great gifts. Visit Under the Kitchen on Facebook or at Under the Kitchen's new website. It's underthekitchen.square.site. That's underthekitchen.square.site. Check out Under the Kitchen today and get your authentic, original Hawkeye print. Week 222 of Brada's Branded Thoughts. I want to extend a thank you to everybody who has stuck around for 222 episodes. Maybe there's none of you, but if you're here now, I appreciate that as well. Have been podcasting for like 8 years now in my life, and been doing the old YouTube thing for the last couple of years. And I just want to throw a big shout out to all the sponsors who have been with us. You saw our ad here at the beginning from Under the Kitchen. They've been with us for over a year. You can check out all of our sponsors in our description. Any support you give our sponsors is support to us here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. You can also support us by means of just clicking that like button, making sure you're subscribed to the channel, turn the little bell on, the notification bell for future live streams and content. And, of course, you can donate to the channel as well. We've got Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, all available. Check out all of those links in the description below. I did want to take a few minutes during today's episode to discuss a non-football related subject, and that is the situation involving Jack McCaffery. A couple months back, Jack was rumored to have been involved with a serious accident that took the life of an individual in Iowa City. And those were just rumors. The police, Iowa City police that were leading the investigation, had not publicly released any information, certainly the names of the people involved. We did know the identity of the person who passed away in the car versus pedestrian accident. But here recently, Iowa City PD did release information on this, and I want to just read you verbatim what the Iowa City Press Citizen wrote up on the accident. We'll start at the top here. Teen cited in Iowa City traffic crash that led to death of Iowa National Guard soldier. This is Ryan Hansen of the Iowa City Press Citizen. The driver in a fatal spring traffic accident in Iowa City has been identified and cited by police with failure to yield to a pedestrian in a crosswalk. The driver's family contends the accident was unavoidable and that another driver had waved the victim through the crosswalk. So just to make sure we're clear on who these people are, the driver's family would be the McCaffreys, and the other driver is a different vehicle that was obviously coming from a different direction. That apparently the claim here is that this individual waved Jack McCaffery through the intersection and through the crosswalk. Iowa City Police said Wednesday morning that Jonathan Jack McCaffrey was cited in the May 22nd accident that resulted in the death of 45-year-old Corey Height of Cedar Rapids. McCaffrey, an Iowa City West High School student who turned 17 Friday, that means he is 17 now, was driving a 2022 Hyundai Santa Fe when he hit Height, a National Guard soldier, shortly after 4 p.m. at a crosswalk near the intersection of Melrose and Kennedy Parkway. The accident was roughly 1/2 mile west of Iowa City West High School. McCaffrey, of course, is the son of University of Iowa men's basketball coach Fran McCaffrey. Fran and Margaret issued a statement Wednesday, waiting to comment out of respect for Height's family in the Iowa City Police Department's investigation, according to their attorney, Joseph Moreland. On May 22nd, just after leaving school, Our 16-year-old son was the driver in a vehicle-pedestrian accident. Investigators have told us that it was an unavoidable accident with no evidence to suggest distracted driving. The pedestrian, who was jogging at the time of the accident, was waved in front of our son's passing vehicle by the driver of another vehicle. The jogger, Sergeant First Class Cory Brada, passed away 2 weeks after the accident from the injuries he sustained. We are devastated by this tragedy. Brada's family has our deepest sympathies. While our family continues to process the events of the past weeks and help our son cope with this accident, we will have no further comment at this time. Police cited Jack McCaffery after consulting with the Johnson County Attorney's Office, according to the release from police. He was charged with a simple misdemeanor, punishable by a $1,000 fine, a driver's license suspension of up to 100 days, or both. Authorities initially did not reveal either party involved, noting that an accident resulting in serious injuries had occurred. Iowa City Police identified Brada as the pedestrian involved back on June 5th, a day after he died, but withheld information on the driver, citing an ongoing investigation. It is our duty and responsibility to conduct thorough investigations, and thorough investigations, particularly those involving a death, take time. Iowa City Public Safety Director Lee Hermiston wrote in an email to the Press Citizen, "We do not identify those involved in an investigation unless that person has been charged. The posted speed limit of the 4-lane portion of Melrose near the uncontrolled intersection of Kennedy Parkway is 35 miles per hour. The posted speed limit on Kennedy Parkway, the entrance to a neighborhood immediately north of Melrose, is 25. Brada, a National Guard soldier nearing retirement, was on a run before the accident, according to a GoFundMe page. More than $8,000 have been raised as of the publishing of this article. According to a Caring Bridge site, Brada was rushed to the hospital for life-threatening injuries. Funeral was held on June 12th in Cedar Rapids for Brada and his family. He was married to his wife for 22 years. They've got 4 children. Brada graduated from Marion High School, later obtained a bachelor's degree in sociology and a master's in education. Enjoyed jogging, bowling, video games, and reading. Served 27 years in the Iowa Army National Guard. And of course, Jack McCaffery is well known for being the son of Iowa men's basketball head coach Fran McCaffrey. He is a top recruit in the 2025 class. And he was scheduled to appear in court back on July 24th, just a few days ago at the Johnson County Courthouse. All right, so now that I kind of read that for you, if you haven't read the article, I figured I'd just read it word for word. A couple things. I've had people reach out to me, and people were reaching out right after it happened because there were rumors on social media. There were websites reporting these things, websites that weren't necessarily known for being credible. And it was obvious that Jack had been involved in something. I heard firsthand from somebody in Iowa City that actually witnessed the police response to the accident, that Jack McCaffery was there at the scene of the accident. And I had people saying, "Why aren't you talking about this?" Folks, there's a little something called ethics. And I have no issue with the Iowa City Police Department not releasing the name of Jack McCaffery. And if you want to perceive that as ICPD trying to protect Fran and company, it would have been a lot easier if they're that corrupt, if the Iowa City Police Department, and I don't really know anybody besides Lee Hermiston. I've talked to him once or twice in the past because he is the public information officer for ICPD. If they're that corrupt, then why not just not cite him? Okay, he got hit with a simple misdemeanor for failing to yield to a pedestrian. Not saying that he deserved to not be cited, but I'm just saying I think that's pretty much standard protocol, and my background is in local news, county news coverage. That's pretty much standard protocol. If the driver hasn't been cited, there's really no reason to release that information. And that's to the discretion of the police department. It's not public information unless he's been cited. And frankly, it's a protection not only for the McCaffreys, but it's also, I think, a protection for the deceased. And Mr. Brada, who obviously was a family man, just devastating for him and his family. My condolences go out to him and his family. Devastating situation. And you don't want this story to become the Jack McCaffery story, because it's the story of a man, a father, and a husband gone way, way, way too soon. And so for that, I extend my sincerest condolences to Brada and his family. With that being said, I have very similar sympathy to Jack McCaffery and his family. Jack will never forget about this. And look, if you've never been through it, I've never been through it personally. I know people who have been through similar situations. You never get over it. And I know sports fans like to treat athletes, even these kids who are like 15, 16, 17 years old, as icons. They're human beings, just like Fran and Margaret and Connor and Patrick and this whole family. They're all human beings. And I can guarantee you this has caused great anguish for Jack McCaffery and his family. And I feel a lot of sympathy for them as well. I can't imagine being in this situation at any point in life, but as you're entering such a pivotal time in your life, you're in high school, you're making huge decisions about your future. People are wondering about your recruitment, which ultimately basketball means nothing when compared to the life of a human being. But this is Jack McCaffery's life. And so this has affected so many different people involved. I just want to say I completely disagree with anybody that thinks it was wrong that the Iowa City Police Department held off on releasing this information. And I certainly was not going to talk about it until it was public. If you don't like it, that's just too bad. That's not how I operate. And it was out there. People knew about it. With social media, that's how things spread so quickly. Again, my heart goes out to Corey Height's family. My heart goes out to the McCaffreys. Anyone else who was in that car. I was told there were other people with Jack McCaffery at the time of the accident. My heart goes out to the individual who reportedly waved Jack McCaffery through. Obviously, that was an accident and completely unintentional. And again, my heart goes out to everyone involved. For those that want to relate this back to basketball, and again, basketball means nothing in the grand scheme of things with all this. But there was an article published shortly after this accident occurred where Jack McCaffery basically said he had planned on not going to Iowa. And I reacted to that at the time without addressing this reported situation. And I'll address it again. I would not be shocked if part of Jack's decision came back to this occurrence. And if anybody's had a traumatic thing happen in their life, all right, whether it be something that happened in your home or at a place of business or at an intersection, whatever, on the roadway, there is something, whether it be subconscious or conscious, that makes it hard to be in that spot, be in that area moving forward. Now, some people do it. I know people who have lost loved ones in their home and they stick around their home for a long period of time and they never move. I know others who just can't handle that. I'm not saying that's what happened here with Jack, but the fact that he was involved in a serious that turned into a fatal accident in Iowa City, perhaps he just doesn't want to be in Iowa City, folks. And I hope everybody will respect that. Perhaps he doesn't want to play for his father. Perhaps the decision was indeed made well before this accident ever occurred. We can speculate all we want, but I don't think this is the time to really press the McCaffreys or Jack when he makes his decision, or even prior to making his decision, pressing him on, well, why didn't you want to play for your dad? I think that's a little bit out of line with this situation. And two, he's got every right to play for whoever he wants. He's good enough to get offers from high major programs. Right now, I believe he's got offers from like Wake Forest. He's got interest from Ohio State and a couple other Power Fives. I think he's got a couple other Power Five offers on the table right now. So perhaps he just wants to get out of Iowa City. I made the comment on a recent show that I would not be shocked if Fran McCaffrey calls it quits in the coming year or two. I'll be interested to see what happens with the 25 class. The 24 class has a really firm foundation with Cooper Koch. 25 is wide open. I know it's still early in that cycle. Fran, as he always does, he offers a bunch of high major prospects, a bunch of 4-stars. He's even got an offer on a 5-star kid for 24, according to 247 Sports, but no commits as of yet. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Is it also possible that Jack ends up coming to Iowa? Sure. And if Fran McCaffrey sticks around, even if Jack starts somewhere else, I'd say there's a decent shot he could end up back home. I hope everybody will sympathize with both parties, all parties involved with this accident, because unless you've been through it, honestly, even if you've been through a similar situation, you have not been through what these individuals have went through recently. So please respect the privacy of everybody involved. Nobody's requested me to make that plea with people who listen to my show. I'm just saying, from some of the responses of people who have wanted me to address the situation, let's just understand where the line is drawn. There should still be lines in the sand, even on social media. And that'd be my plea. I can't make anybody do that, but I don't plan on addressing this situation at length any more than I just did. but it is public information. It has been reported by well-known news outlets, and that's all there is. I wish the best for everybody involved, including Fran, Jack, and the entire McCaffrey family, but certainly the Height family as they deal with a tragic and just debilitating, heartbreaking situation. All right, folks, we'll lighten the mood a bit for the last part of our show. We've got an exclusive interview coming up with Iowa wide receiver Alex Mota, the Marion product, who is at Iowa now, who's about to start his first ever fall camp in college. Sat down with us a while back to talk about his decision to sign with Iowa. I think he could play right away. I think he's got the skill set to help this team right away, potentially, if he can get moving here this fall and stay healthy. We'll talk with Alex in just a second. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about Iowa floor covering. I've talked about them at length, but their Tough Core Click Together 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring is available with self-installation at just $269 per foot. Look at this beautiful store down in Bondurant, and I can tell you firsthand, Tyler's a good friend of mine, great guy. They will treat you right, and I've learned over the years that I would rather do business with someone who's a good person, who's going to be honest with me and treat me right, than anyone I don't know, frankly. And the fact that you can get this great deal from great people at a local place in Bondurant, Iowa, central Iowa, right in the heart of Iowa, do it, folks. Again, visit iowafloorcovering.com/DIY, and this Tough Core Click Together 4.5 millimeter waterproof vinyl flooring. Ask them all about it, or ask them about your other flooring needs. One more time, that's www.iowafloorcovering.com/DIY. Alex Mota joining the show. Alex, welcome to the show, sir.
What's going on? Thank you.
Well, Alex, first of all, you are the first right out of the gates here this afternoon. And how does it feel now to officially be a part of the Swarm?
Pretty cool. I know the guys are all excited. I know we're excited to get down there this summer, so it's going to be pretty dope.
And Alex, we had you on the show before. You understand, and I believe we had you on the show before the season started. So you understand that wide receiver is a position of need here.
Yep.
And you bring speed. You bring kind of a versatile skill set because you played a lot of quarterback in high school. For those, and we'll certainly share that interview out. I'll encourage people to go back on the channel and watch that interview we had with you a while back. But tell people what they can expect once Alex Mota gets to campus.
They can expect a lot of things. I can kick return, punt return. A lot of special teams too. Get on the field right away. And then the offense, deep threat. Me and Marco, that would be pretty cool. K2. Like quick hitches, just make things happen in space. So that's what they can expect.
And correct me if I'm wrong, you were, throughout high school, you played quarterback.
Yeah.
Obviously, you were a guy who was dual threat.
Mm-hmm.
But as time went on, this season, you primarily were at wide receiver, correct?
I was at wide receiver for the first game. I didn't get the ball. I got the ball like 3 times. So they switched me to running back the second game. And then I was mostly a running back, and then I'll go out and slot every once in a while.
So my question to you, Alex, is what sort of a transition period has Kelton Copeland and the Iowa offensive staff talked to you about? I mean, what is that going to be like? At least I know you haven't done it yet, but that's got to be somewhat nerve-wracking to kind of go in head first into a position group that, again, needs help.
Yeah, he pretty much said that. Honestly, I'll know all 3 positions on the field, the slot, and then both sides of the field. So it's pretty even.
And obviously, we mentioned your speed.
Yep.
You are a guy who can take the top off the defense, which I believe Iowa needs. I mean, I don't think there's any question about it. As it relates to your strengths, we've talked about this in the past. How would you sum up your strengths that you believe you bring to Iowa as a pass catcher?
Me, I can track the ball pretty well. I didn't get very many catches this year, but the catches I was able to catch, I caught them. And then just be able to just read the defense too, sit in the zones, burn a DB or safety when it's needed to. So I think that's what I bring.
And being close to home, you feel to know that you're able to be a part of a school that you've been following and been around your entire life.
Yeah, pretty much. My family's moving to Corville. They're going to be about 10, 15 minutes away from the campus, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Playing quarterback a lot in high school.
Yeah.
Is that do you feel like that equips you better for understanding the passing game?
Yeah.
Having not played wide receiver, but you have that experience. Certainly, you're not going from being a DB in high school exclusively to being to being a receiver. You actually are part of the passing game. What do you take from being a quarterback at the high school level that you think will help you at Iowa?
It was when I started actually like understanding the game more as a QB because, I had to study the playbook, go watch film, what's the defense doing and stuff like that. So just being able to like manipulate the defense, to see what they're doing, their tendencies and what zones they're in, all that coverages. It just helped me a lot to receiver and then, just be able to sit in those zones and all that stuff.
247 Sports has got you at 6'1", 175. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'm about like 180 now during basketball season. It's pretty solid.
And I guess kind of my final question, Alex, you have been committed for a while now.
Yep.
You are a guy who's active on social media.
Mm-hmm.
And in this day and age, social media is an integral part of recruiting. You have been a recruiter yourself. What's it been like kind of being a recruiter for the university since you committed?
It's pretty cool, get to know the guys a lot more. I really want to Asa, but he wants somewhere else, but that's his decision, what's best for him. I've talked to the receivers, I'm rooming with Dayton, so we're going to try to get that connection going, get her early. I've talked to Marco too, so yes, it was really fun, to be honest.
So you and Dayton will be roommates, and we'll be able to build that bond. He, of course, has a very intriguing skill set at 6'5".
Yeah.
He's indicated he might be closer to 6'6".
Mm-hmm.
Very, very unique skill set you two bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
He talked about his background with basketball and how it's helped him, specifically with jumping and being able to win those jump balls. You, of course, would probably attest the same. How does being a part of other sports at the high school level equip you for Iowa?
Definitely the competition, just being able to compete against somebody else really helps you, get that winning mentality because we're winning some games right now. Lockdown and defense, the energy, and being a leader on the court too. This translates to the field.
You mentioned Marco. You mentioned Asa Newsom, who just committed to Kansas State, unfortunately. There's always a transfer portal, Alex.
True.
But I want to ask you specifically about this class. Have you grown into a tight relationship with Marco? Are there guys that you obviously you're going to be living with Dayton, so you're going to be close to Dayton, but are there other guys in this class that you've grown tight with?
Yeah, definitely Marco. Definitely during our official visit, I think all of the recruits, we all hung out a lot. We all kind of like took a piece from each other, understand each other more. So I definitely think we'll be able to reunite a lot more better when we get into the summer. Just reconnect again.
And we talked about it too. And I promise this is my final question for you. We talked about it last interview. What was it about Coach Copeland and Iowa that, besides just being a homegrown kid and there being a need here for electrifying guys out wide, what made it so easy to make this decision when you did?
Well, I didn't commit just off the coaches. I just committed off the school, because I was a great school. I'm going to be able to get my degree there too. So that's going to be pretty cool. And then I met Coach Copeland after I said I wanted to play receiver. And then, the odds just fell in. He was a pretty good coach, talked to me about what's it like going to be there, the struggles, the positives, all that stuff.
And that was my last question, but Ryan in our chat has a question for you. He wants to know if you know Tegan Davis, the recent commit from Princeton, Illinois, that just committed a few days ago.
We've talked in the group chat, but I haven't really talked to him personally now.
Okay. Quite an athlete himself. Played a lot of quarterback in high school. And,
he's a DB, right?
Yeah. So you two will be matching up against each other, I'm sure. Early and often. Alex, again, Alex Mota from Marion in Eastern Iowa, just not too many miles away from Iowa City. And good to hear your family will be even closer in Coralville, making it down 380 and standing at 6'1", about 180 now as we head into the summer. Congratulations on the big day.
Thank you.
Hey, Alex, the signing, and we look forward to seeing you making some big plays here soon.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Really appreciate Alex Mota joining the show. Seems like a really humble kid. I think it's really cool. His family is heading to Coralville, and we'll be able to give him support each and every week. They'd be able to do that from Marion too. But just a cool story, and a kid with some speed. You don't often see a lot of real great speedsters and wide receivers out of the state of Iowa that can bring it with their legs. He's a great track athlete, And you never know. We'll see what happens with the wide receiver room. They've suffered from injuries in past years. I know they've got Caleb Brown out of the transfer portal. They've got Seth Anderson, Nico Ragaini, Jacob Bostic's a year older. Deontay Vines is back. But I would not be shocked to see a true freshman. Remember, they've got 3 true freshman wide receivers, one from Tampa, that's Jarrett Bowie, one from Kansas City, that's Dayton Howard, and one from the state of Iowa, Alex Mota. The best of wishes to Alex and Dayton and Jarrett as they start their freshman years at the University of Iowa. More coverage coming up, folks, including a live show with your favorite guy. Coach Don Patterson is with me Sunday. That's Sunday, July 30th. If you're watching this the day after it was posted, it's today, folks. 4 p.m. Central Time. Myself and Don Patterson previewing fall camp. Tune in for an exclusive edition of Hawkeye Hangout right here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Plus, an opportunity to win tickets to see the Black Keys featuring opening act, the Velveteers. Yes, free tickets through us here from the Hawkeye of the Storm. Tune in live at 4 p.m. Central Time on Sunday with myself and Coach Don Patterson for a live edition of Hawkeye Hangout.